Why is your heart so heavy? We carry these burdens not because we want to, but because we do not know how to set them down properly. Do you feel exhausted by these repetitive thoughts? The shadow of your past seems to weigh on your shoulders like an anchor in a very deep sea. Every worry you hold on to is a debt you pay to a future that hasn't happened yet, leaving you bankrupt of peace in this present moment. Look at the apprentice. His soul is tired and his energy is fading away. He carries the ghost of mistakes that were made long years ago. Behold the dark chains of anxiety wrapping around the spirit, tightening with every breath, making it impossible to see the beauty that surrounds us right now. These chains are made of what-ifs and if-onlys. They are heavy, cold, and they keep us anchored to a version of ourselves that died. The air is thick with mist, matching the confusion in his mind as he seeks a way to find clarity among the mountains of his own. Then a wise master appears, his presence like a soft light in the darkness, ready to share a simple truth that will change everything forever. The master holds a glass of water, simple and clear. He hands it to the young man, asking him to hold it for a while today. At first, the task seems easy and light. The glass is small, the water is clear, and the apprentice smiles at such a simple, easy request. But as the minutes pass, the weight begins to change. The muscles in his arm start to feel the strain of holding the same steady position. A few more minutes and the arm begins to tremble. The simple glass of water is no longer light. It starts to feel like a burden. Sweat drops on his forehead as he struggles to keep his hand still. The water ripples, reflecting the inner turmoil and the growing physical pain. In his mind, the glass is transforming. It feels like a heavy stone pulling his shoulder down, causing a dull ache that spreads through his body. The weight of the glass hasn't changed at all, but the longer he holds it, the heavier it feels until it becomes almost impossible to endure. His face is a mask of concentration and agony. He is paralyzed by the effort of holding on to something that should be so very light. The master smiles gently and points to a nearby table. He whispers that the solution is not to be stronger, but to simply let go. With a sigh of relief, the apprentice sets the glass down. The tension leaves his body instantly, and he breathes a deep sigh of pure freedom. The weight of your pain is exactly like this glass. Hold it for a minute, it's fine. Hold it all day, and you will be paralyzed. Now they walk into a garden overgrown with tall, sharp weeds. The master explains that a mind is like a garden that needs constant, careful care. The master points to the thick thorns choking the delicate roses. These are the Yuan Jian and regrets that we allow to grow in our hearts. The student begins to pull the weeds. It is hard work at first, his hands getting dirty as he reaches deep into the soil of memory. With every weed he pulls, a dark thought manifests on the screen and then dissolves into a shower of bright, colourful petals in the soft wind. He pulls the weed of anger and it turns into a pink petal. He pulls fear and it becomes a white blossom floating in the air. The work continues as the sun moves across the sky. The garden is slowly being reclaimed from the shadows of the past and the unwanted weeds. Light begins to touch the ground where once there was only darkness. The garden starts to breathe again, vibrant with the colours of new life. When you remove the weeds of resentment, you make room for joy to grow. You cannot plant flowers while the soil is full of old thorns. Look at the transformation. The garden is now a sanctuary of peace. The flowers are blooming in a riot of colour under the warm evening sun. Butterflies dance between the petals, and the air is sweet with the scent of possibility. This is what happens when you decide to let go. The apprentice looks at his clean hands and smiles. He realizes that letting go isn't losing something. It's gaining the space to grow something beautiful. Next, they stand by a river that flows with great power. The master watches the water as it rushes over the rocks toward the distant sea. Yellow leaves fall from the trees and are swept away by the current. They represent the moments of our lives that have already passed us by. The young man runs along the bank, reaching out to catch a leaf that has already floated past. He is desperate to hold on to the past. He stretches his fingers, straining every muscle, but the water is too fast. The leaf slips through his grasp and continues its journey down the river. He's panting, exhausted from the chase. He looks back at all the leaves he missed, feeling a sense of loss for things he cannot change. His foot slips on a wet stone and he nearly falls into the cold water. He is so focused on the past that he misses his step. The master stands calmly on the shore, pointing toward the horizon. He explains that the river only flows in one direction, away from the old. Look at the vast ocean waiting at the end. The river doesn't struggle, it simply flows. It lets go of every bank to reach the infinite. The student picks up a new leaf from the ground. He holds it for a second, then gently drops it into the center of the stream. He watches it float away without trying to stop it. There is a new peace in his eyes as he accepts the natural flow of time. The past is a river that has already moved on. Trying to hold it only makes you tired. Let it go and flow with the present. Inside the temple, a single candle flickers in the twilight. The air is still, and the scent of incense fills the quiet, sacred meditation hall. The apprentice sits in silence, closing his eyes to the world outside. He turns his gaze inward to face the noise of his own busy mind. Visions of his daily life appear, beeping phones, piles of paperwork, and the faces of people he needs to please. They circle him like angry ghosts. But as he breathes, he imagines these images turning into smoke. One by one, the deadlines and the stresses drift away into the dark ceiling above. He takes a deep breath, and with the exhale, the last of the noise vanishes. There is only the sound of his heart beating in rhythm. A golden light begins to glow in his chest. It is the energy he used to spend on worrying, now returning to fuel his own spirit. The light grows brighter, surrounding him in a warm embrace. By letting go of the trivial, he has reclaimed the power of his own focused attention. He opens his eyes, and the world looks different. The colours are sharper. The shadows are deeper, and his mind is as clear as a mirror. An image of an archer appears in his mind. The archer does not look at the ground or his feet. He only sees the golden target. With absolute stillness and a heart free of doubt, the archer pulls the string. There is no hesitation, only the pure intention of the present. The arrow flies true and hits the mark. This is the reward of letting go, the ability to focus your entire being on what matters. The sun begins to rise over the mountain, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple. The night of the soul is finally over now. The apprentice stands up, his movements fluid and easy. He bows deeply to his master, a gesture of profound gratitude for the lessons he learned. He begins his walk down the mountain path. His steps are light, and he no longer carries the invisible weight that once crushed his very spirit. He walks past the river and the garden, and is seeing them not as places of struggle but as reminders of the beautiful art of letting things go. As he nears the city, the noise of civilization grows louder. He sees the tall buildings and the rushing cars through the morning's golden hazy light. He enters the crowd of busy people. They are rushing, frowning, and carrying their own glasses of water, unaware of the weight they are all holding. He moves through them like a leaf on water present, yet detached. He is in the world, but the world no longer weighs heavily upon him. Let go to grow. Start your journey today. Breathe in the new air, leave the past behind, and discover the world that is waiting for you.